So at the most basic level, if you were to describe what one of these pod shops actually is, what a multi-strategy fund does, how would you articulate that?
Well, I think you want to sort of think about it as a couple layers is probably the best way to think about it. The first layer of what these pod shops are a series of individual or team PMs, portfolio managers with a certain set of expertise. Maybe they're an expert in a particular sector, a particular type of stocks, say a particular asset class, or strategy, investment strategy, like a fixed income ARB strategy or event strategy or whatever. Each one of those different pods you can think about as having their own individual return stream. Now, the trouble that many allocators have, let's say that they were investing directly in the pods, directly in these PMs. The trouble that many allocators have is you don't know how they're related to each other, right? So let's say you could have 20 different pods and all of them could be long risk assets in one form or another. They all think that they're experts in being long risk assets, but the reality, they're experts in their particular assets, not recognizing that they all essentially have the same factor exposure. And so that's the level up that these pods do, which I think is important to recognize. So take the PMs, go a level up and say, what's the cross factor exposure that exists in their views, right? In the sense of how do I basically not take single concentrated bets in certain cross factor exposures, but instead try and get the genius, extract the genius of each, the unique genius of each manager across each one of these different managers by extracting the factor exposure. And then a level up from that, you could almost think about like it's a highly tactical allocation mechanism where identifying which manager's idiosyncratic alpha is outperforming or likely to outperform the best given the scenario that exists in a period of time and shifting capital efficiently towards those that are likely to outperform versus not. You take those three layers and you add on leverage, and basically what you get is the goal is to have a optimized portfolio of idiosyncratic alphas that is consistently moving capital to the more effective strategies that are likely to generate returns ahead, with the idea being how do you create pretty good returns with low factor exposure.